everyone. There's nothing worse than seeing like a small indie game that you kind of like sort of grew up with, you know, playing it like a shit ton when you're a kid, or you know, about the similar age, and then over time it gets bigger, but sort of like a worse way where like, you know, where you start to make more money by adding new chunks to the game, ripping it out, and then like selling it as DLC. It's really common when like small indie games have like a huge fan base, while you have like publishers at a distance seeing it and just frothing at the mouth for like the idea of like having a huge gold mine of a game to sell as DLC. The reason I bring that up is because I remember seeing people like play Escape from Tarkov, and even though it wasn't massive, people were just like really admiring the game for like how like small bits of detail that no other game like gave a shit about, and being really immersive in general. Well, even though if you played the game yourself, there were most likely moments that made you hate it down, like deep down in your heart, but the overall enjoyability of the game definitely outweighed, you know, the anger that it caused you. And I am happy for the game being bigger now, you know, since then, having like more content, having more fans as well that really enjoy the game, even though right now in this video I'm going to talk about the recent edition that they just put out that really pissed them off, even more so if you're like a long fan that's really supported the game, maybe from like even when it started. If you haven't heard about the edition or you don't play the game yourself, it doesn't matter, because for whatever game you really love, like deep down in your heart, you have to admit yourself, if they came over an edition the same price as this one at a huge $250, a huge core of yourself would be livid at having the price that high. So when I heard that and saw this image as well, you know, I believe it's gonna be like a decent deal, you know, for all the stuff on screen. But then I realized that's just like all in-game items, like just 3D models that are definitely not, you know, the production cost of $250. And of course, yeah, I've seen like special editions of games, you know, cost that much, but they always come like at bare minimum, you know, like some kind of statue or like figurine. Regardless if it's like cheap Chinese plastic, it's still like some physical object you can hold with your own hands. Okay, so if there's no actual merch coming with the edition, why would people still be this angry? Apart from the price, and that's because, you know, people that bought the previous edition that was most likely cheaper will promise that any future DLC that would come out, they would get it for free, you know, because they're loyal fans, they spend money on that edition, therefore they shouldn't pay for future content of the game and not be butchered like a pig just for money. But yeah, when this edition came out, you know, they broke that promise, you know, so if you want to play the new mode, which I'll talk about in a second, you have to pay, you know, that huge steep price of $250, like just $250,000 basically. And normally at that price, like that's just like the kind of stuff like nobody really cares about, apart from like really dedicated fans that have like way too much money on their hand and they just spend it because they want to. But even then, they made it bullshit by adding benefits to the edition that if you paid for it, it would give you a way better advantage than like the dirty peasant that didn't pay for the game, which includes increased stash, improved skills even if it's a new save, and the ability to stop AI from attacking you at a certain reputation. And even though I haven't played the game myself, I have to admit, if it was just like a single player game, you know, it wouldn't be that bad, you know, you paid money for it, the least you can do is like, you know, dick around and do whatever you want. But if it's like an online game where you can like actually with people with this like advantage, then yeah, that's way worse. Like just being like, yeah, if you give us $250, yeah, we could make you God in our game, you know, no effort. Therefore, you will not believe how positively the fans took it, with them going on the actual like Tarkov Discord and flooding with messages, and like some people had to ruin it by you posting cat images, like thank you very much. But yeah, they were just like spamming the same message over and over, and it was like a simple sentence, it was like an actual, you know, pissing on the wound like paragraph, you know, saying since 2016 players have supported developers by purchasing the highest edition of the game. For 8 years we've been recommending this game to friends, and yeah, it's really just, you know, like a Shakespeare level obituary, you know, like for 8 years you've been milking us, you know, making us bone dry as possible for every bit of penny you can. And yeah, on the Reddit side it's no better, which I don't really care because I hate Reddit, but even then, you know, with like just a flood of posts like being pissed off at the game, even the mods had to like kind of side with them, be like, we can't, I know it's our job to enforce the policy, but even then they were like, yeah, it's kind of bullshit, you know, for the most dedicated fans just to have like that huge steep price. So they were just like, yeah, just post whatever you want on the subreddit. So yeah, you know it's that bad when you make a Reddit mod, like the most prideful asshole you can find online, basically give up their job and commit like online seppuku. Which even though I am laughing at it now, that's only for like from my own perspective, like not paying any money for it, compared to people that have been like patiently waiting for like new DLC, like new game modes, and then once it comes out, you know, $250, regardless if they were loyal and bought like a previous edition with the promise that they would get any new DLC for absolutely nothing. Even if you're rich and you're like a huge influx of money going to your account from like whatever reason, you'd feel like a right cook, you know, putting in your card details, you buy the edition, and then yeah, get like barely any content. You do get perks from it, like I said before, but I can only imagine like the bullying you would get from your friends, or just people in game mocking you for paying for the edition, like just degrading back to school bullies, like being the shit of the posh kid that's really pampered, you know, like dunking his head in the toilet, you know, that kind of bullying.